Welcome to Every New Day, and this is ENDtv News. On August 18th of this year, French streamer Raphael Gravin, known online as Jean Pormanove, died live during an extreme 10-day streaming marathon on the Kick platform.
After nearly 12 days of gaming, sleep deprivation, and violent stunts, French streamer Jean Pormanove, real name Raphael Gravin, died during a live stream.
His death ignited an urgent conversation around platform responsibility, online abuse, and the growing concern over screen addiction. Jean Pormanove was found unresponsive during a live stream that extended nearly 298 hours. Think about that. Reports indicate he had undergone sleep deprivation and even toxic ingestion while enduring physical abuse and humiliation by co-streamers. A judicial investigation has been launched. An autopsy found no signs of trauma or third-party violence, pointing instead to medical or toxicological causes, possibly exacerbated by his pre-existing conditions. Kick, the Australian-based live streaming platform, was quickly criticized for lax moderation, which allowed the extreme content to continue unchecked. Authorities seized equipment and banned the co-streamers involved. French officials, including Digital Affairs Minister Clara Chapaz, referred the case to regulators and called out Kick's legal obligations.
French ministers say websites are responsible for monitoring material and must ensure children are not exposed to violence. Once again, internet safety is being discussed in the context of someone losing their life.
Former French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal labeled the event a brutal revelation of how social media has become a modern-day circus, with humiliation and violence aired for clicks. He announced a bold set of proposals: mandatory school screenings for screen addiction, banning under 15-year-olds from social media, instituting a digital curfew for 15 to 18-year-olds, converting videos longer than 30 minutes to black and white, and taxing platforms to fund addiction research. These measures reflect a growing trend across Europe. Some countries are already piloting EU-backed age verification apps, and France has previously pushed for stricter social media limits for children. I wasn't familiar with this streamer, Jean Pormanove, and apparently was pretty well known in France. And he did, I think, what was it, 298 hours? That's like, I forget the exact amount of time, but it was a 10-day stream. And the thing is, you know, with live streaming, there are these marathons that a lot of streamers do. They're usually referred to as subathons because they're trying to get more subscribers or subs, and that makes more money and it makes them grow. So I assume that's what it was. And he had a bunch of other people there, apparently co-streamers. I'm not familiar with who they are, but the whole thing is when you're doing these marathons, you have goals and you have set these things so people engage in watching it more and stuff like that. And so apparently what happened was that he was being abused, tortured. And what I mean by that is, it's like all sorts of crazy stuff that they can do, like tying you up to a chair, sleep deprivation, with TTS, that's text to speech. That's when they have the speaker and they're like, the viewers can then pay to send crazy music or stuff. So you don't sleep. That's very common with live streaming with these sleep streams, as they call them. They can do all sorts of things, or the person can donate and then suggest something, like he has to eat a whole chili pepper and he can't go to the toilet or some crazy. So I guess all of this stuff, or he has to be slapped 20 times or something. I don't know. Apparently there was no restrictions here, and they were just abusing him continuously. From what I understood, even his mother called him at one point and was saying they don't give a shit about you and they're treating you like crap. You should stop this. And he carried on, apparently. So, I mean, from my understanding, he had a cardiac arrest after this. So he literally died live on stream, and this was on Kick. And we stream on Kick, as you know. And now there's a big kerfuffle. There's a major issue now with Kik. Kik has been in the target for some time now because they've had issues with previous what they call nuisance streamers. These are streamers that go abroad to other countries and they don't recognize or respect the customs or even recognize the laws there, and they just harass the locals and do all sorts of crazy things just to get views. I mean, this is the culture of today. It's not only with live streaming, I think it's with content creation in general. You can see this on TikTok, you can see this on, I assume, Snapchat too, on all sorts of things, where it's just people are doing anything just for views, for clicks. It has to be shocking, it has to be like completely out there. And the majority, the target audience for this is obviously younger people who shouldn't even be consuming this stuff. And we've talked about this in the past, because they don't understand the boundaries. They don't understand, they're not even responsible, because the thing is, they're minors, and so under the law they can't even be culpable. You know, this is why they do all sorts of crazy things, like trying to perpetrate all these other problematic issues that have developed from streaming, which is like doxxing, which is like, you know, finding out who the person is and trying to expose all the information about that person online, or swatting, which is calling the police on people and claiming that there's like something dangerous or serious, but in the end it's not, and then that person could end up in trouble because the police don't know, and then they don't know, and then, you know, all sorts of crazy stuff. And this whole culture is what unfortunately has been driving towards more restrictions being imposed now by policymakers, by the government, and now particularly by France. Unfortunately, I see this becoming more of a trend, because it just seems that the platform is guilty to some extent, because even though Kik presents a very open platform where, you know, you don't get penalized by ridiculous things like certain words like you would on Twitch, or having certain views, obviously anything that's criminal, they will ban you. And they did ban all the streamers, but you know, they don't have like people looking 24/7 at everything, right? They allow, you know, people to drink on stream, things like this. But then there's also the question of like, well, in the case of Twitch, they don't allow that because that has been abused, and then that has shown to be the case where people take that to the limits, and then there's very bad behavior and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean. So yeah, now policymakers are taking more stricter actions, and I think what we're going to see is that more and more platforms are going to be more restricted, and they're going to be more limited. And at the end of the day, it always boils down to the same thing. You should have certain protocols in place. The platform has to be responsible to a degree, but it also has to come from governments, and it has to come from also the parents. And, you know, this thing of limiting children altogether, not only from the internet, from smartphones, from platforms. Originally, YouTube, you weren't allowed to even have a YouTube account unless you were 13 years old. Same with Discord. And, you know, now that we're seeing these issues, like, okay, if we have more adult-orientated material, like you're becoming, as a creator or whatever, penalized, it becomes more and more difficult. And this is because of advertisers. This is also because of the corporate system in place for a lot of these platforms. Because what do they want to do? Essentially, which is also bad, they're exploiting minors, the youth, because they know that minors are the major target audience. I mean, even Twitch is doing this. So you have all these like female streamers who are wearing lack of clothing or very loose-fitting stuff. Of course, it's younger audiences. Yes, you have adult audiences, but this is across the board. And Kik obviously as well showcases gambling, because it is the company that owns Kik is stake.com, which is an online gambling platform. So a lot of the streamers, they also gamble, and that's also promoting gambling to the youth, right? Because they have access to this. So I think, yeah, unfortunately, this has become the case. It's the reality, which is that the youth has too much access to really bad things. There's no guardrails, and I mean, you have YouTube Kids, for instance, then, okay, if you're from, anywhere below 16 years old, that's the only thing you can access. You can't access anything else. But if you're 16 plus, I mean, particularly in Europe, because in the US, 16 is still too young, right? Then you can consume the content of all manner of things because you're more capable of understanding and dealing with these topics. But at the same time, the content creators also need to be restricted and limited, because this content, like abusing, torture, whatever, these things, and nuisance, like harassing people for the lulz, for the joke, and all these pranks. Nowadays, what they do is pranks. It's not even a prank, it's just harassing people. This is being pushed and perpetuated again as well by younger people. I mean, just recently there's been a case with Roblox.
Now to the wildly popular online game Roblox, facing a new lawsuit accusing it of allowing sexual predators to victimize children. Again, that's the lawsuit.
A big gaming platform where you go online and you play with other people. It's similar to Minecraft. It's like it's a multiplayer type of thing. It's online, and there's a lot of, I hate to use the word, but it's the reality. There's a lot of child predators on there. And this is a game that was purposely marketed for younger players, for the youth, which is fine. But then you have people who are exposing that in Roblox, trying to tell Roblox, the main company, hey, there's these child predators, there's this inappropriate content on your Roblox platform, which is disgusting. You've got like developers connected to the Roblox thing, creating these mini games or these other games, which is like, oh, Roblox toilet, well, let's see what we can do. And they're getting penalized. So they're allowing this to occur. And that's what I'm saying. I've been saying this for almost more than a decade, actually, to many people. The companies themselves, as long as they're within the limitations of the law, right? They don't care, because they understand that the biggest market, even Hollywood knew this back in the 80s, is kids. This is why McDonald's created the Happy Meal with the toys. This is why Hollywood made movies and cartoons from toys, because they just want to push out the stuff. They want to promote all this stuff. And many content creators still do that, and streamers and stuff like this, because they see their analytics. They can see like who's watching. They can see the age. And there's just no accountability. But the reality is, I tell you right now, the moment you slap a guardrail on that and you say, no more minors, no more younger people able to consume this type of content, guess what happens? Oh, the views and everything. Oh, the money, it all goes away. This is the reality, the nature of the beast. And unfortunately, it took another guy to die, but I don't think it's going to end there. I think we're going to require, we're seeing already a rise in mental health with younger people, because they're consuming too much terrible, inappropriate content. Just a lot more of detachment from society, from reality. Younger people are having more difficulties interacting, more difficulties, interrelational skills, all of this stuff. And screen time is a big deal, but also being exposed to this type of content too, and becoming desensitized. This is not normal. And so, yeah, the governments have to step in. And normally I'm someone who doesn't like government getting involved, but guess what? The governments also have a responsibility too here, because this is like, you have a government because they're actually supposed to be there to help their people and the nation, and to also protect the nation, right? And this is ruining the youth. It's destroying their mental health. People go to any length now just for clicks and views. It's absolutely insanity. That's pretty much it. And I guess this is what we're going to see now. So yeah, that's my whole explanation there for you. Very long. We here at ENDtv have already reported on this phenomenon, the growing issue with social media and dependency on technology, especially with the youth. Share your views in the comments down below, and subscribe for more insights. Give this video a like if you liked it, and let us know what you think about all of this in relation to digital life. This was ENDtv.